Hi YouTube, thanks for looking in. I'm Andy, I'm in West Wales, United Kingdom. This is my daily birth chart for the day, a snapshot of the astrology and the heavens as we go into Thursday, the 15th of February 2018. An interesting day, quite a lot going on, but let's rattle through the basics first. We start the moon, no we don't, we start the day with the moon in Aquarius, where she has been since Tuesday afternoon. She passes into Pisces tomorrow, then we'll see some change. But in the meantime, there are other things going on at 20:51, that is 9 minutes to 9 p.m. UK time. 20:51 tonight, we have a partial solar eclipse, which is a time of great... It's a thing that people get intrigued about, basically. It does tend to be a time... It's not exactly a time of change, but it brings change with it, and in the time after it, we do start to see things moving on. So we've got the partial solar eclipse, and then a new moon, also in Aquarius, at 21:05. But right then, at 21:05, as that new moon comes in, the moon goes void in Aries, and she enters Pisces tomorrow. Much more of the emotions, much more of the imagination tomorrow. But in the meantime, it is actually a lovely alignment, because as we get the new moon, whatever's happening with a new moon, you get a sort of lull, things happening a bit more quietly, a bit more slowly, a bit more gently, in a way that we can keep up with. Things slow down to the point where we feel more like we've got our ducks in a row and we know what we're doing. The book I've read about this says that everything goes into decline. I think that's a little bit too kind of harsh a way of putting it. Things certainly go down. You know, not a great deal is expected to happen, basically, but it's the quiet, just as it's starting up again. It's a time for inspiration around a new moon, so certainly as we're moving towards Pisces from Aquarius. It's a real good time for the imagination. Intuition, psychic things like that are certainly heightened. There is actually no full moon this February, and there were actually 2 in January. So it's a lot quieter month, a lot calmer. And even though this is a big sort of alignment that's happening tonight, it's a big gentle alignment. It probably make us ask questions and question ourselves a bit. But it's really, really positive the way things are going this February. There is only 4 times a century that you get a February with no full moon in it. The last time was 1999. So this doesn't happen all that often. It's even rarer than a blue moon. Or is it? No, I think it's about this. Oh no, 4 times. Yeah, that's right. Because a blue moon is 4 times a year. And this is 4 times a century. When a solar eclipse comes in, get sort of ideas and communications starting to take off, particularly because Mercury makes a close aspect to the solar eclipse, and it's a partial solar eclipse. We won't be able to see it here in UK. That's one quite important thing, because it's happening at night when the sun isn't really a big part of what we're looking at in the sky anyway. But in some parts of the world it will be visible. Let's see, 2051. So that's 15:51 in Eastern time in the United States. I guess the sun's still out then, unless you're trying to be more like Wales, UK, where it seems to be dark all the time at the moment. And let me see, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11 in Pacific time as well. I am absolutely sure of those. So there we go. We can actually run with that, I think. Hope, faith, options as well are likely to come up now, because, as I say, this eclipse and this moon does make a very tight aspect with Mercury, the messenger of the gods. And actually the day after, tomorrow, the 16th of February, the moon actually does conjunct the eclipse. So we might get fairly quick answers to problems then, and actually fairly big answers, also fairly good answers as well to things that we might not regard as problems, things we're trying to puzzle out in our minds. You know, that this is a time of answers coming up, and February generally is that way. The way it was in January, most of the influences were getting us to let go of things, to clear the decks, to kind of push troubles to one side, or at least to contemplate ways round troubles rather than grappling with them. About decluttering the personal space around us, the psychological space inside our minds, and you know, you could call that the spiritual space, I suppose you really could. It was all about cleaning, all about clearing. February is about the ideas coming in, and then as we go on through the year, we get our boots on as the year gets its boots on, and we keep moving that way. So that is the partial solar eclipse and the new moon happening at the same time. It is a remarkably powerful situation, but it's one of those things where there is a lot of power behind it, but it's not kind of knocking people's heads off power. You know, a good day, a good alignment, I believe. So let's take a look at the rest of it. Then at the moment, the moon's still in Aquarius. She is actually, we're pretty much on new moon now. Let me see. She is, well, that's no good, is it? So, oh dear, I'm so fed up with the way the times and dates keep disappearing. Oh dear, right. At this moment, she's 0.3% full. She is waning crescent, still on the way down, and will be on the way down until 21:05 tonight when we get that new moon just after the partial solar eclipse. They're pretty much together, really. So right this very minute, Mercury is sextile Uranus, Venus is sextile Saturn, Mars is square Neptune, so there are changes happening already. The moon now, though, is square Jupiter. Things can be overrated. Evaluate what happens before you go along with the flow. That's the main thing, because all the gentle, calm beauty doesn't come in till a bit later in the day as we get closer and closer to that new moon. Mercury sextiling Uranus, progressive decisions suddenly can happen. You know, agreements can be reached in situations where you weren't expecting one. It can be like that. It's quite a positive aspect to Uranus, that, so I shouldn't worry about it. Venus sextile Saturn, well, in relationships of all kinds, not just love, but, you know, the feminine energy, basically, and that doesn't have to be a woman, it can be a man, but the feminine energy is basically now towards confronting the facts, not confronting each other, but confronting our facts, making settlements, finding formal solutions to problems that are going to go on and on. On the other hand, Mars square Neptune is, you know, it's getting people to act in a questionable way, really. So there are more questions coming up, and that can be just those two things clashing a little bit can make our interpersonal relationships quite difficult. Okay, well, that is just about it for the astrology. Let's have a quick look at spaceweather.com. And the solar wind speed as we speak, 303.2 kilometers a second. That's just like a tiny bit faster than yesterday, but not much. The density of the protons is up a fair bit at 4.1 protons a cubic centimeter. That isn't a lot. The 6-hour maximum B10 of X-ray solar flares, this is. The 6-hour maximum of X-ray solar flares, B1 at 03:14 UTC today. Also the 24-hour B1 at 03:14 UTC. There's only one sunspot on the face of the sun, number 2699. It blew its head off a couple of days ago and it's settling down now, but the solar wind takes a bit longer to get here, especially because there's been a coronal mass ejection, which is a strand of magnetic stuff. Plasma, that's it, magnetic plasma that flies off the face of the sun and travels through the universe, causing various effects. So there's a 60% chance today of G1 class geomagnetic storms. That's quite minor, but it is there to be felt. So, you know, if you're doing pagan work, anything to do with earth magic, that is worth thinking about. Let me see, what have I left out of there, because I'm always leaving things out. The coronal hole is facing us. There's a lot of solar wind coming out of it at the moment, so that is really getting mixed up with the coronal mass ejection of magnetic plasma, and it's getting a bit crazy out there. Whether it gets crazy down here or not is another matter. Hopefully it won't, probably it won't. Okay, well, that's just about it for today. I was almost going to start talking about Mercury retrograde, but that's not becoming part of the picture until the 8th of March, so we'll leave that for now. Have a beautiful day, have a beautiful night. It's going to be great, I think. We're really going to start seeing things change, things that we felt stuck with for a long time. Things really starting to move from 9:05 tonight as we get into the new moon. If you're making plans around the new moon, great, but don't launch anything till 2 or 3 days after, when the moon is starting to be visible in the sky again. Okay, because that's when the energy is there. Right, thanks for watching. It's a long one today, but there's loads of stuff to cover. I hope I've just about got there. I really appreciate everyone liking, subscribing, sharing me around. I'm nearly on the 10,000 views that I need to sort of keep on YouTubing and make it better, get better cameras, that kind of thing. So the more you can like, the more you can subscribe, the more you can share me around, I really appreciate it. It's a big help. So have a beautiful day, my friends. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and take care of yourselves. Bye bye.